Welcome to AMIcast, podcast about Amiga computers. I'm your host, Krzysztof, but call me Krzysztof or Radzik. AMIcast episode 18, and today we have two guests, the guys behind Amibian, when I'm pronouncing a good project. This means, in short, this is Amiga for Raspberry Pi. So I will start it like this. Hi, and can you introduce yourself? Because two guys is doing this quite interesting thing.
Now I live in Sweden. I am from Iceland. Anything else you want to know?
You can say what you are doing in real life, but as you wish, that doesn't matter.
No, Skype's fucking up.
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Are we still on?
Yeah, I'm on. And now I'm lost who is on and who is eventually out. Now Gunnar is on, I think. I see on the Skype.
Yeah. For once mine is working.
Okay. So I can cut it. So
yeah. Okay,
can you say something?
It's not only Gunnar and me. We are more people actually. So better to mention it's two of the members of the team because we are more, and it's actually only Gunnar doing all the hard work. I'm only whipping his ass.
Yeah, you like that, don't you?
Yeah, baby.
So this means more than two guys. So this is 3, 4, 5, or
I am the Amibian Minister of Propaganda.
Okay.
Yeah. He spreads the word. He does my public speaking, basically.
And Gunnar is my little bitch.
Oh, thank you for that.
Oh, I love you too.
Yes, somebody must do the black work or whatever. It's not politically correct. The hard work.
Yeah, definitely. Slave work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we just start over and let's just introduce ourselves and or what?
I think this is good enough because it shows that everybody here in this very interesting interview, as I think, have good fun. So before we go to this project, because I don't have the Raspberry Pi, I want to buy, but I think I don't have no time to another stuff here. But the price is interesting. But before Amibian and Raspberry Pi style, I would like to ask you about the background of Amiga. This is your old love or current love or the mix of this?
Well, for me, I actually didn't own an Amiga until the CD32 came out. I used other people's Amigas until then. Well, basically my older brother, he had an Amiga 500 and then later he got an Amiga 4000. So whenever he wasn't home, then I was using it. Trying carefully not to make it obvious, of course. So...
Yeah, and now I will try to start to introduce myself because Krzysztof, you sort of forgot that before. Who am I? I'm just this little voice in the background. My name is Thomas Garcia. Hello, Gunnar, my little bitch. I'm a national Dane, moved to Spain because of the heat and the palm trees. I normally, I used to be an Amiga user back until 2000 when I got tired of all the promises and all the updates and all the new hardware. And I bought a PC. I bought a PC and Windows 2000 and I loved it until 2012 and Windows 7. And,
oh my God.
Yeah. Then I got a Raspberry Pi and I met this little Fabio Ribaldi, who had this little group on the famous Facebook. And yes, we got into talking, and he had done this little, pre-cooked image with Raspbian, running only UAE for ARM, but also with a full distro in the background. And I tried for a long time convincing somebody of this little Amibian thing I found by this fellow Luca Solsocchio, Italian guy, about making a basic image with nothing more. And me, not being neither a coder nor a programmer, nobody listened to me, and I couldn't do it. And then I met Gunnar, and we fell in love, and he did it. And end of the story.
Very good.
That's it. He did everything. And he also did the crying and all the beer drinking. And it doesn't work. And it's very basic, and nothing works. And it's not very good, and it's always needing more and more and more, and it's getting bigger. And then he was Googling things, and he got a lot wiser, and he actually got rather good at it. And then all of a sudden it actually worked. And it worked better. And right now I actually think it's really perfect. Just, well, my point of view. What do you say, Gunnar?
Little things still need a little fixing, but I guess I'm never happy, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. At the end of all, when I'm thinking about this stuff like Raspberry Pi, this is quite nice piece of hardware, and it's really cheap. So maybe I will try it somehow and somewhere and sometime. But at the end of all, maybe why you choose the Raspberry Pi? Because it's cheap, because why? Yeah.
Well, I chose it because it was cheap, and I was looking for something to emulate on Amiga, so I figured that could be perfect. And because it was cheap, I figured let's give it a try. So I did, and well, when I joined up with this group, Fabio's group, and things went from there. So it was very interesting.
Also because it was cheap. I mean, it's cheap. And it's
if you break it, it's not like you're gonna go bankrupt.
And it's small, and you can carry it around. I mean, it's the size of a pack of smokes. I mean, honestly, I take it to work once in a while, and I connect it at the computer screen there, and everybody's like, "What's this?" It's funny.
At the end of all, yes. And maybe about the Raspberry Pi before we go to the Amiga stuff. Can you use Raspberry Pi, the version 3, as a normal computer with Linux or something like that?
I only use Raspberry Pi as a computer. Well, I upload using a regular PC, but when I need to Google stuff, I turn on the Raspberry Pi instead. It's faster. It's easier. I'm used to it. So, yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you've done everything, Gunnar. You even had all the Raspbian fonts and all the stuff in the first images you did.
Yeah.
The background pictures. He actually did everything on it, and I was like, why? So it's actually pure Raspberry production line. I don't know. I mean, it's a simple little computer. And my philosophy, at least my idea about it, was with the Amiga, and also the Ibn Upton. I've read about him being an old Amiga fella, and he liked the basic idea of the Amiga with the dedicated chips and everything included in one board. And it's basically the same we've got with a Raspberry. And also the thing about optimization, as I always say. I mean, right now I've got a phone with 3 gigabytes of RAM, and it's still running slow. I mean, and you've got a little Raspberry, you've got your limitations, and you have to push the programmers to actually make use of it, which nowadays is something I think is highly underevaluated. Nobody does it. It's just shove in a bigger processor, and it'll run. And I think it's bullshit. I mean, make the most out of what you've got.
Yeah,
And it's fun.
Old school way.
I hope the next Raspberry will not have more than 1 gigabyte of RAM. Otherwise, it'll just be the same bullshit. It should stay true to the base idea. 1 gigabyte of RAM and let people get wiser programming. It's easy for me to say. I know nothing, but I'm just standing on the sideline, my whip.
But I think it is in these days. This is almost not possible because the mainstream is pushing the mainly the RAM. Maybe processor is not so important now, but nobody is good developer now. This is bad word. But the people are coding like whatever they learn and they code. No optimization.
Yeah. I do remember a simple little program called Freehand MX from Macromedia.
Mm-hmm.
Still widely used. It's like I think it's like a 30 or 40 megabyte install for vector graphics and graphical design. At my work, it's still being used by the designers. And you can then go the Adobe Illustrator way and install 1.5 gigabytes to basically do the same, and it's slow as hell. So, I mean, it might be a bad comparison, but still, make the most out of the little you have, and it should run optimal. That was the base idea about the Amibian also, like Amoeba and Raspbian, like an amoeba, like a small little thing, like a microscopic thing, not more than what it is, therefore the name, hence. Make it small, make it simple, it should be better. What did you say, Gunnar?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Of course you agree, I'm always right.
Well, I tried arguing with you, and I learned that.
It's better than to say.
It's a waste of time.
Here in Spain, I normally say, "Ves haz caso al danés," meaning, you see, better give the Dane better give me the reason, better say I'm right, because it's the only way forward. Even though I'm not, I never make any mistakes.
Well, I figure if something goes wrong, I can always point to you. Well, that was Thomas's idea. He did that.
Perfect. Always blame it on the immigrants.
That worked for me. Yeah, precisely.
Always blame it on the immigrants. I know.
Well, I'm an immigrant too, so I figured blame the Danish. That's what I've been doing my whole life. It's the Danish fault.
Yeah, it's that Icelandic volcano. He's just been drinking too much, or he's been driving, or been working all week and answering fan mail about how to flash the image on an SD card. And it's like, read the README. Yeah, but I don't want to read it. I want you to read it for me. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Ask us something.
Yeah, I want to ask you now about the because I'm not using Raspberry Pis so far, and
That's
Amibian,
really bad.
but I saw
It's
some.
bad man.
Yeah, but I will be better now. I will buy something.
You don't need to buy something. You need to buy a Raspberry Pi 3. It's a simple little nifty thing. It'll make your life happy. You can live in a cave. You don't even need women. You can just have the little Raspberry and sit in a cave and look at it.
Okay.
How much percentage do you get for advertising, Thomas? Because I'm not getting any.
I thought you had a donation of €5 so far.
Okay, but now me asking question. Okay, because when I saw some infos about about Amibian, this is not only the simple Amiga emulation, like everybody's are showing now or something, that I start the game and I'm happy with retro, because with this software I can, let's say, directly boot to AmigaOS, and I'm a big fan of AmigaOS, the newest one and the older one. So this was the idea from beginning, that I can have in small hardware like Raspberry Pi the quite powerful classic Amiga configuration.
Yeah, that's basically what I was going for. When I got the Raspberry Pi, I figured if I can make that boot as an Amiga, then I'm happy. That's what I wanted. I wanted basically new hardware with an Amiga. So
Okay.
and that you can do with Amibian.
It's nice. It's simple. It's small. It's effective. I mean, there's other distros around. Amibian definitely isn't the first, but it's the first small and dedicated system. And what's been the sort of the goal of it? Gunnar, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
What the point of it was to give it the Amiga look, make it simple, because I know lots of people always ask the same thing. Again, I'm always bitching about the same thing. Read the README, that's why it's called a README. But I got my first Raspberry Pi 2 in December, and I didn't know anything about it. My Linux skills are basically zero. I use a bit of Ubuntu on my old laptop.
Mm-hmm.
But except that, I mean, all the command line, I'm getting fucked up. I mean, damn it, I don't know sudo whatever. So I learning by doing, because otherwise I couldn't get it running, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I think the Amiga scene, regarding your question, both of it. With the Raspberry, it's simple. It's like Flash, plug it in, run it, and you basically have everything, all the systems and all the tools needed to have it running. Because my idea, at least, like my vision would be, except of all the dreams and hopes and promises for new hardware, I mean, new hardware is good enough, but are you going to run 30-year-old software on it? No, you need new people, new programmers. You need to open up the scene for a new generation, because we're all getting older. I've got gray hair. Gunnar's got even more, I'm pretty sure. It's maybe ice taps. And then definitely you need to capture a new generation. But if you need to go out and get first 200-300 euros for old leaking 1200, which I've got one myself, but I'm not going to update that one. I mean, here you can, for 50 euros, you're in the game. And you can have sort of high-end system, and you can experience it. And, well, if you get hooked on it, you can then go out and spend 2,000 euros on an Amiga graphics card if you're lucky enough to find one that's working. But, I mean, it's impossible. You have to open up the scene for a new generation, as I said, and you need to do that without the limitations in the hardware. And how do you do that? With the biggest compatibility and, of course, the common sense and having a machine without actually having it. And I don't know how. Gunnar, help me out. I'm getting lost.
Well, this is perfect for bringing generation hits, because it's cheap, it's small, it's very accessible, and it's very easy.
Yep.
My kids have been playing it, and they want one for themselves. So that's gonna be my next step.
I can say, because I heard from some people that the future Amiga should be something, or future AmigaOS should be running on Raspberry Pi, because it's cheap and this is hobby hardware or hobby freaks hardware that they want to experience something new. And when we are talking now about the future, and for now, let's say the future of Amiga is Aeon and Amiga 1 for 2,500 euros. So this is a lot of money, and
I promise you, I'm not spending that much money on any computer, even though I will never spend 2,500 euros on a computer. Never.
You're never gonna bring in any new generations of using the computer for this amount of money.
Yep.
No young kid is gonna go and say, I'm gonna buy this for that much money. I have no idea what it is, but I'm gonna buy it. That's not gonna happen.
And the other thing is, you have to remember, if you only have, let's say, a rich kid's new generation of people running Amiga, I mean, you buy it, but you don't know what the frick to do with it. So you should be a little more open source, available for everybody. And let's hope.
But it's good that they're still developing it. It's not a bad thing that it's available. It's this expensive hardware. It's very good that it is there, but we also need something cheap to bring in new people, to bring in new blood. So I think the Raspberry is a very good option for that.
Yep.
And it's updated, and it's got support, and it's working, and it's stable. And there's loads of other single-board computers out there. I basically don't like any of them. Not only because this has been sold the most, but it's well made. I mean, come on. It's a nice, perfect little piece of hardware.
It's very accessible. Accessories are very accessible, so that's
universal. Easy.
Okay, so now the question about the future of Amiga eventually, because your project is so far running the classic AmigaOS, not the new generation, but for Raspberry Pi is also available AROS. Have you tried? For example, this is AROS. So the implementation of Amiga, something like this.
I have to say I've been on the way to try it for a very long time, but I've been busy with other things.
I've been crashing a lot of times. I've had it crashing a lot of times. Yeah, I tried. Then I get bored. I mean, why? Why? When we can have the real deal?
Mm-hmm.
I think all the forms and all the stuff, I think everybody should just put aside the differences. I mean, we're all some rather old geeks, as I mentioned before. We all basically got gray hair. We should just say, screw all that shit. Screw all that copyright. And I mean, with all due respect to Kristjánsson, but I mean, they're milking an old corpse with the ROM files and all that stuff. I mean, you will never have any progress, and you will never get a newer system. I don't know. There's so many ideas. Some people like emulation. Some like the old hardware. Some are over purist. Some are conservatives. I mean, you will never find a perfect solution for everybody. So this is just a piece of software Gunnar put together with the help of by the help of Google and a couple of his neurons he's got left that are still working. And I mean, he's the perfect example of what you can do with a little bit of motivation and good hardware.
Okay, so for sure, I think that the Raspberry Pi is good in good price hardware, but how you want to make more or make bigger community or even developers when we are using only AmigaOS 3 in this piece of hardware, because this is more or less quite outdated operating system, yeah?
Definitely. But there's no new software, so why bother about it being old operating system? That's what I mean. There's no new software, so why do you want a new operating system with no new software? I mean, what came first, the hen or the egg? I mean, I'm definitely sure a lot of people will disagree with me. You always need new. I mean, no. I still use freehand, and it's like 14 years ago, the last update, if I'm not completely wrong. And it works on my tablet, it works on my new PC, it works on everything. It's well programmed, it's funny. And then you can have a new update, and you can update your phone every day, and nothing works. It's the eternal cycle, and I can go on bitching about it for another hour and a half. But I mean, optimization, simple hardware, and Gunnar is having another beer.
No. That wasn't beer. Maybe.
Okay, you can say what you want, but everybody knows that this is beer. Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm drinking water, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So yeah, basically it runs up OS up to 3.9, but nothing more, because then the operating system depends on PowerPC.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, not a smart move. Only have it for PowerPC because that's expensive. But for now, OS 3.9 is very good, for me at least.
I love it too.
Does everything I wanted to do. I mean, I'm not gonna go online and watch videos on YouTube on it because, well, I got my Android phone for that. So yeah, it does everything I wanted to do. So I don't really need anything newer.
Yeah, what would we be without the Android phone and Chromecast on the TV? I mean, that's just beautiful. And then this little Raspberry that doesn't take up any space. So nice. And the blink factor of it being small and actually being able to run it with a battery pack out of your pocket. It's funny. Now I just need a screen to fit in my pocket.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that PyTop project. You know, you can turn it into a laptop.
Oh yeah, but that's like 260 euros or something for a screen with an adapter. I mean,
yeah, but
you want to pay that?
Like for me, like I'm always on the road. I'm only home on the weekend, so it would be perfect for me. But like you say, it's a lot of money.
I do recommend you this little screen, the same as I got. I do recommend it. I'm not earning anything on making advertisement, but those bbillion.com monitors, 4x3, I love it. I've got it on right next to you guys here in my little Skype tablet, and it's good looking. It's nice. It's 63 euros with HDMI. I mean,
like I've always told you, like when I'm on the road, first thing I check when I come into a new hotel room, like there's a new hotel room every single night, and then first thing I check, can I hook up my Pi to the TV? And it's so often that you can't, and it's so frustrating because during the day I might have gotten some kind of a bug report and I gotta fix something or find out some solution for some guy or girl, and I can't hook up my Pi, and I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, I need some solution for that.
Okay, so now I have two questions, because theoretically 3.9, the AmigaOS 3.9, you can do more modern things you can use with NetSurf. And have you tried it? Maybe like this. And other question is about developing stuff. Is this everything is made on Raspberry Pi that you are, I don't know, updating the Amibian? So you only use the Raspberry Pi for this?
Yeah, I only use the Raspberry for this. Like I said, that's my main computer. I only use the PC for uploading the images when I'm done.
Sorry, I just have to break in here. Gunnar, when you speak English, you sound like the Queen of Denmark.
Awesome! She's famous. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so sweet, actually. You sound like Queen Margarita. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah, according to the...
That's a compliment.
Yeah, you're tall also.
Yeah, no, not that, but yeah.
Yeah, NetSurf's working fine. I like it. Eyebrows also.
Okay, but NetSurf is theoretically the latest modern browser for classic Amiga, yeah?
Well, basically, when I used the Amiga in the old days, there wasn't anything like the internet wasn't available. Mm-hmm. So I'm not expecting an Amiga to go on the internet. When people first started asking for it, if it can go on the internet, I was like, what? You really want that? How? Why? Okay. So
yeah, but it's funny that it doesn't load the images and all the JavaScript is failing and it's running like shit and it's crashing and its screen is low and it's funny. I feel like 1999 again. And don't make me sing it. Don't make me sing it. Okay, I will sing it. It's like 1999.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but like,
I'm just missing Gunnar. Can you implement the modem dial-up sound? I remember I sort of miss my 33.6 and later my 56K flex modem dial-up sounds when I connect to the internet.
Yeah,
and then
I
also put a speed limiter. We need to have it running at a low internet speed also, so it's the real deal for the hardcore purists out there.
Well, like I told you before, you go online, you almost never go online, so it's easier work for me that you call me and I'll make the sounds through the phone. It's easier for me.
Oh, so like verbal DTMF tones.
Yeah, I'll do that for you instead. That's less work. Exactly.
Yeah, I think we need to make it slower so it seems more like the real hardware, and also maybe start selling it with a little bag of paint so it yellows. What do you think? I mean, just make it yellow for the real deal. I mean, no harm. I've got real hardware too, and I like them, but I'm done with retro browsing. I'm done with it. I am so done with it. It's yellow again, one part and another isn't. It's just so bad. And then I look at my little €4 shell from a Raspberry, and it's black, and I think it'll never turn yellow.
Well, you could paint it yellow, just to have it match with all your other stuff.
Yeah, but the Raspberry's price is the same as a recap, so just buy another Raspberry in 20 years.
No, you can buy the white housing and put it on the sun, and it will be yellow.
Yeah, I'm thinking about chopping up an Amiga 1200 just to make it small enough to fit the Raspberry.
Yeah.
I've got a Dremel, and Christoph, can I say a little greeting to a friend of mine?
Of course.
Stefan Egger, I know how much you love Dremel. I will bash a 1200 in your face with a Dremel and just put in a Raspberry just for you. No, I won't. I don't like animal food.
Okay. So maybe a game because I have another question.
Yeah.
What
is it? Really?
Yeah, because
I'm not supposed to just speak about bullshit all the time.
I want to again ask about the Amibian. If this is possible somehow, because in Aeros and in this new project from Aeon, that this is possible to run the Linux software from, let's say, AmigaOS. It is possible to do it in your distribution, like for example on Raspberry Pi I can use Skype or Firefox or Dropbox. And then somehow integrate it in AmigaOS free. Then it will be perfect Amiga solution, yeah?
Well, you'd have to implement it into the AmigaOS, so that would be a lot of work. So I don't really know how or if you can do that. I certainly can't do that. But if you actually...
You will learn.
Google
couple
it,
couple of years, yeah, perhaps. Yeah, that seems to be the way. But the thing is, in the background of Amibian there is a Linux, so when you exit the emulator, you can install whatever you want. If you want Skype, you can have Skype.
Exactly, but can I run it from AmigaOS that it's a shortcut or something, and then it's run on my workbench?
Not right this moment, but this is a good idea, and I think I'll drink a couple of beers.
Take notes. It's basically what we've been doing all along. It's just stuff that came along. It just started out as fun. Gunnar actually listening to my ramblings about that Amibian, and all of a sudden it worked. I mean,
yeah, it was fun.
It was just fun for. Didn't you actually just do it for me to begin with?
Yeah, exactly. You asked if why anybody doesn't do it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it for you. It's okay. I'll fix it.
Yeah, and that was like 3 weeks you saying I'll fix it, and it needed more and more and more.
Yeah, at the beginning, the biggest fault was I had an old SD card that had a little fault, and I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, in the end, it worked out.
Okay, so it will be nice to have something like this. And now I have another idea and question, because lately I was trying FS-UAE, so this emulator have the netplay function, so that this means it's not working perfect, but this means you can play in old Amiga games through the internet online. So I can play.
It's the portal thing, ain't it?
This looks like this. This is based on IRC server. It's stupid IRC server to use it, but whatever. There is server, and when I run the, for example, Lotus 2, and my friend in another country run Lotus 2, and then we start the server, then we can play together online in Lotus. So it is possible to implement something like this in Raspberry Pi, because the emulator have the open source. It's open source, so maybe somehow or something like this. This could be a nice feature as well. Sorry.
It definitely is a nice feature. I don't really know if it is possible right now, because I haven't tried the emulator for a while, because I've been working on the image itself. So I haven't played around with the emulator itself for a while. So if it's not a possibility, then I'm pretty sure it will be soon, because there are some people working on the emulator, updating it as we speak. So hopefully, if it's not available, then it will be soon.
They are sitting in a bunker, secretive.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about it, actually, do we?
They go by code names.
Yeah. Why? Get
Why?
out of the shadows. Say, hello, it's me. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you know what happens now, Thomas? Now that you said that, about 50 guys or women, they're going to come out and say, yeah, that's me. It's me. So, yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, now we're here, like, taking the credit for their work.
A lot of people want credit. Yeah.
Everybody wants credit. I just like to hear my own voice.
Oh God. Okay. So because another stuff that I think Amibian start to be somehow popular. So.
What do you say? Somehow it is popular.
Okay, but I want to say that before there was nothing, and then come the Amibian suddenly, somehow like this. Well, and I want to ask you about the feedback of the guys, or how you feel the community, the reacting for your work, and this is good feedback, and you want to do more, or the interesting is not so big. Something like
well, the thing is, Amibian was definitely not first. So let's make that clear. Amibian was definitely not first.
It was the first dedicated system.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah, definitely, but it wasn't the first. We're not the first guys to do this, but yes, we did. It did get very popular very fast, and I've gotten a lot of good response from people. Everybody seems to love it, and that's why I keep on going. I've gotten some grumpy people complaining, but nothing too bad.
No, it's easier always to complain than to create something. I mean, do it yourself sometimes. I mean, people have been responsive and happy, but we asked for people doing some background logos and stuff, and nobody was really bothered. So all the time I'm messing around with it. People are happy downloading in the thousands. They download. Oh, it's free. Give it to me. And then Just give it a like. Just say, I like it. Just send a picture of whatever. I like to see people's desktops and stuff. And we get like maybe 3 pictures and 1,500 downloads. So it's...
We have some...
sad.
There are a lot of people that have, they have made pictures and, we have gotten a lot of good feedback, but it could be better. It could be more, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It could be more, but like Thomas said, we have downloads in 1,000. I track every download, so I can't remember how much it was.
We know where you live. We know where you live, and we will come.
I don't track that. I just count the downloads. That's all I do.
Exactly.
Track the downloads. You said that. You little creepy.
It's on record.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a little. It's got a little coating of spice on you. Yeah. No, it doesn't do that.
Sending off IP.
I do count the downloads.
Give us a screenshot, or we will come after you. Take a picture of ourselves.
Yeah. You can do that, Thomas. That's your job.
No. I'm living in Spain. I'm doing way too much overtime. They don't let me.
As a minister of propaganda, that is your job.
Exactly.
You go to work now.
Oh, I'll let my little Stasi operation group do that. My little personal SS.
Oh, God.
But we've gotten a lot more downloads than I expected. I actually expected 10 downloads, perhaps. If I'm lucky, 20. But last time I checked, it was about 4,000 downloads.
Yeah, so, for AmigaOS is very impressive.
I think so. Like I said, that's 4,000 more than I expected.
Okay, so
3,990 actually.
Okay, so now the question about, in general, Raspberry Pi. What do you think about this? I think more or less everybody know. And your project, it's only popular in Amiga world, or you try to go outside this world? So I don't know, in Raspberry Pi forums or community and so on.
Well,
I've been basically doing nothing. I just share on Facebook. I'm not paying for advertisement for something I don't get anything from.
We don't pay for anything.
I mean, if there would be 500 pictures of happy people wearing a picture of their Amibian setup on a t-shirt, I don't know, whatever. Maybe you would get animated to pay €3 to Steve, to what's his name now, to the Facebook founder, to Mark, that fella. Oh, damn, Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe I'll pay him €3 to reach 600 people more. But why, if 600 people more don't even want to share me a picture of their setup? So, no, I'm not paying for advertisement. I don't think Gunnar is either.
Well, the thing is, we just shared it on Facebook, and it's just spreads. People share what they love, and that's how it got spread. And some people started uploading YouTube videos. And
quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, actually, quite a lot.
So
I noticed when Dan his video, and then that gave a big spike in downloads. So yeah, it's other people that are advertising for us, people that just love the product.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, but you haven't tried it, you say.
Yeah, but I already start my work. Okay,
yeah, so like this, everything we do it in our free time, and we give it away for free. So if we need to pay for advertising, then, well, how am I going to explain that to my wife? I'm giving them too much.
I'm surprised my wife hasn't divorced you yet.
Yeah,
in the beginning you spent more time with me than with your wife.
Yeah. Well.
So now, really simple, easy question. So for the guys that are listening now, this, how you can start with the Amibian Raspberry Pi. So I know the Raspberry Pi costs €35, but this is only the main board or something. But what I should buy and how much I should invest to start playing Amibian and I don't know, to start playing other stuff on Raspberry Pi. So how to start it?
Well, like you said, you need the Raspberry Pi, and then you need a power supply. And I do recommend
a decent power supply.
Yeah, you can get the original one from Raspberry Pi Foundation. You won't regret that, because if you have a lower power source, you will have problems because it will not run at full speed. And images like Amibian require all the power it can get. So you do need a decent power supply. So I recommend getting the original power supply, which you can get with the Raspberry Pi. And then you need a housing. Well, depends on how fancy you want it. You can get them cheap and you can get them expensive. I'm not really familiar with the prices of the housing. And of course you need a SD card. Class 10 would be good. Well, actually, you don't really need anything better than that, but it's up to what you want to do. But I wouldn't recommend going any lower than class 10.
You're missing the cable. You're missing the cable. A decent cable. A 20 AWG. Don't have you don't want a weak USB cable. How many people haven't said about the little colored square? And it was the cable.
Well, the Raspberry Pi power supply it's got the cable connected and it's just plug and play. But if you you can use like the Samsung power supplies that comes with the phones. They are 2.1 amps, so you can use those. The
I like to buy cheap and Chinese.
I do know that.
Yeah,
that's why you're having problems.
Problems. I've got many problems, but none of them are cables. I'm right now looking at 7 of them. Tronsmart, really nice little brand. Tronsmart.
If you get a power supply that's doesn't have the cable attached, you need to have your own USB cable. You have to make sure it's a good USB cable because they transfer electricity at different rates. Some of them don't transfer it as good as others, so you might get problems with that. So, like I said, I recommend getting the official power supply.
Okay.
Are you earning anything for all that advertisement you do? They haven't given us anything yet.
Yeah,
just ask them.
If people use the proper equipment, that means less emails that I need to answer.
Okay, so this is at the end of all, I buy the stuff and then I download the image, and then I put the image on the SD and all, more or less.
You plug it in and then you turn it on.
Okay, kickstart and so on.
The RAM, the kickstart, name it whatever you want. Of course you need to copy the stuff or your hard drive files. I would say instead of having us talk about that, I mean, there's loads of good videos about that on YouTube for setting it up. It's something you would actually see in the works. But for the Kickstart files, they're still copyrighted by Cloanto, so.
And they're actually not expensive. You can get
you can get it on the Google Play from the Google Play for Android. You can get it for like €1.09, and then just copy it from there if you want to be
Just remember the key file, the ROM key file. Yeah, you need that. But yeah, like I said, the ROMs are cheap, so I don't know how much the workbench is, but I don't think it's that expensive.
At the end of all, it's something like Amiga Forever from Cloanto, and this is, I don't know, 20-30 euros, and you have the whole package with everything. So you can
definitely you can do that. That's the easy way out. But yeah, you can always Google things.
Yeah, I do recommend getting the collector package though.
Yeah,
You get a lot of extras. You get a lot of history with it. But I do recommend it. If you don't have it for yourself already, get it.
Yeah, so more or less, like I said, it will be 1 hour. I ask about everything, more or less.
Already? It's only been 45 minutes. Now they're not letting you go.
Well,
You promised an hour. You have 45 minutes to fill.
okay, so about because I want to ask about the speed of emulation, but so we can connect it. How you feel speed of Raspberry Pi connected with AmigaOS 3?
It's a lot faster than any Amiga I've ever tried, so I like it.
Crash constantly, and there's no loose connectors, and there's no loose overheating or weird stuff, and you can change your keyboard configuration. You can use all controllers, especially with Stefan Blick's, what's the name of them? Quickjoy, is it? No.
Joy Division.
Joy Division, is it? Ah, yes.
It's a good name. Those adapters, you can hook up your old Amiga joysticks to the Raspberry Pi. It's really good adapters.
Okay, but you can connect the USB joystick, I think, as well, or joypad.
Yeah, almost all USB joysticks go, and if you get those adapters, you can plug in the old Amiga joysticks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Advertisement. But they work perfectly. I've got 4 of them right next to me. Love them. I can use my Wico command and bash around on the table like it was on the Real 500. But the Pi, again, it doesn't take up any space. It's nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
When you have the old joysticks, you really get the old Amiga feeling.
Yeah,
I just love them.
And how you can compare the emulation to typical solution on the Windows, for example, or Mac? So because the Raspberry Pi is not so powerful like Intel laptop. Huh?
Yeah, it's not as powerful, but then again, the Amiga isn't powerful either. It's not like the Raspberry Pi can handle it very well. I haven't compared it myself because, like I said, I don't use the PC for anything else than uploading. So I think it's decent. Thomas, maybe you've made any comparisons?
Decent. It's in comparison. I mean, every time I've been looking at FS-UAE underneath, for instance, Amiga Forever by Cloanto, all those settings. I mean, there's a lot of things. You can emulate everything you want. But do you need it? So if you want to have it simple, download Amibian or one of the other distros, but better to download ours, just because of the name, and have it simple. I mean, it's just simple. I'm looking at it now on my little 4x3 8-inch screen here, and it's looking good. It's simple. I've spent altogether with the screen and everything maybe 110 euros. And if I get tired of it, I just take out the SD card and plug in something different. I mean, it's not
you have to. The Raspberry. You can basically switch a computer with exchanging an SD card. That's as simple as that.
Basically, you change the whole computer. It's the thing. You know how many SD cards I've got. I like to play around with all the distros and stuff. And you get tired of one, you just switch out the card. It's sort of like with the Amiga back in the day, with all the floppy disks you had in the box. Now it's just SD cards.
Now I have the good question. Can I have on the SD card 2 operating system, for example, Amibian and somehow, I don't know, Linux or something, whatever, and without switching?
Well, Linux comes with Amibian, of course, but you can have other distros if you like to do a little coding. There's this thing called Berry Boot, which enables you to boot different images from the same SD card. But I haven't made Amibian so it works for that yet. But if anyone wants to do that, then be my guest. Please tell me about it. So I skip that work. But that is a possibility.
Okay, Good news.
I'm not bothered about that. I like an SD card for everything, for every single thing. I mean, they're cheap. Why bother? So much hassle. The same with all the people using the RetroPrime. They want all the freaking systems on 128 or 256 gigabyte card. Not to switch the SD card. I don't understand it. I mean,
and then you get one little fault on your SD card, and all the systems are gone.
It's a lot of copying. I mean, it's a long time. I like the little thing I've got Amibian on an 8 gigabyte SD card, and I have flashed a backup of it. So if I do something to screw it over, which I'm really good at because I'm a geek, but I'm not very clever. So lots of things I don't know, so it's learning by doing it. It's meaning a lot of reflashing of cards. If it would be 128 gigabytes with all the files in one, I would not be doing anything else. And believe me, I did like that in the beginning. And now I've got the Amibian with the USB card with everything in. I mounted as an external, as a drive underneath within the emulator. And I've got the folder, I plug in and out USB with AmigaOS 3.9 running. And I've got the folder, I've got my MP3s and my modules. So basically I haven't got anything installed on the SD card, except a couple of simple ADFs and the relevant hard drive files. The system folders, to call it like that. Mm-hmm. So basically only like 500 megabytes plus Amibian, so it's like 1.5 gigabytes in total. And I could then copy all my stuff to have it on it, but it's like, I mean, plug in a USB or an external hard drive via USB, and you've got everything there directly from USB. And if you want to copy it, you've got Midnight Commander already included. You don't need to mess around based on the X4 file system. You can't access it directly from Windows, or you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So when people they take out the flashed micro SD card and they plug it in the PC to copy the files, and it's not being recognized. And then you can do it by FileZilla. You can do it via FileZilla like FTP or whatever. I'm not even bothered looking into it. It's very easy, they say, but I think it's easier just to plug in my hard drive and open it directly. So
that's how I do it.
Yeah,
just plug a flash drive in.
How many answers? How many questions, Gunnar? You remember all the people back in the beginning with the FileZilla and how to copy? I mean, why? Why copy it?
Yeah, it takes longer. It's faster. Just connect your hard drive to it. It's so much faster. But people want it that way. 40
gigabyte hard drive I use for it. Next to it, it's got all the Amiga stuff on it, and it's like still 30 gigabytes left. So, how many people haven't got an old flash drive or hard drive or whatever lying around? Just use it. If you screw up the system or you update or whatever, I mean, it's there.
Okay, so
it's been a thing. Many people always about the copying of the files. Well, don't copy them. But for the basic copying, you've got the Midnight Commander for the kickstarts and stuff, so you're not in any trouble. And Gunnar has made it really easy with a numbered menu. It's like press 1 for reset, press 2 for calling the hotline to talk with Gunnar in.
Dismiss you.
Whatever. No, I mean
that was all Fabio's idea. It was a good idea. It works very well.
If you can do it any easier, let us know. That's like feedback. Go on to the Amibian page on Facebook. It's a little fan page. There's no nude pictures of us because of Mark Zuckerberg removing them, but
you've tried your best, but well.
You are more than welcome to ask and have fun with it. For crying out loud, it's like not only pictures of the little square color. Get a decent cable.
Okay, and Amibian webpage, will you have in future something like Amibian.com, or it will be so long webpage address?
We have a webpage address, Amibian.net.
Okay.
So
that sounds so gay when you say net. Net. With a proper little. Net.
You know, I use 3 languages every day. Give me a little break.
I do too. I use swearing, Spanish, and sort of English.
Yeah. Okay, if you call swearing a language, then I use 4.
Oh, okay, sorry then.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Amibian.net. Net. Does that sound more manly? Net. But yeah, that's the back page.
This now, no? Don't? Yeah. Amibian.net. And there's the Facebook page, of course. I mean, just search for it. Amibian. Search for it, find it, like it, and write us. We like getting mail. Also positive.
Yeah, and we are part of a group that's about emulating on the Raspberry Pi. But I encourage everybody to join. There are a lot more images there as well, and it's very interesting, and you can get a lot of information there. And a lot of people. It's amazing how many people are willing to help. If you run into problems, you can basically find almost every solution in there. So It's called Retro Emulation Pi FPGA and Co.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a long name, but yeah.
I will try to put the link in description. Okay, but so 2 of you, I think you are a big fan of Raspberry. So what do you...
We're more a fan of the Amiga.
I am a fan of the Raspberry. I'm still annoyed about Ibn Upton not answering my mails to him via Facebook. I mean, write me back, Ibn. I want to be your friend.
Well, you're too pushy, Thomas. You sound like a stalker now. I wouldn't answer you.
I
definitely would not answer you.
Buying a long coat. I'm naked, showing off my SD cards.
But more or less, whatever. What the Raspberry Pi Foundation say, what do you want from the new Raspberry Pi? And it will be, because this is very exciting and very now popular hardware. And what future, in your opinion, will bring for Raspberry community?
Well, I myself don't have any expectations for them. I think they're doing well as they're doing now, and they're on the right track. So I have full faith in that the next one, if there will be a next one, will be awesome. So I have no expectation for them. They have my full faith. So yeah.
Okay. So, and because I think not everybody knows this, Raspberry Zero, something like this is this. What is the difference between the Pi 3 and the Zero? It's cheaper.
It's smaller and it's shit.
Okay. It's cheaper, it's got less RAM, it's got a smaller processor, it's got less of a USB ports. It's a very small version.
Always sold out.
Yeah, I don't know, people think it's awesome. I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay, so for Amiga use, we should buy the 3, not 2, but 3.
Yeah, I would recommend Raspberry Pi 3. You get the most... It's not that much of a price difference.
Okay, so the price is almost nothing here, so...
Yeah, exactly, so just get the Pi 3 and you'll be happy. If you get the Pi Zero, a lot of people think the Pi Zero is awesome and they always want to try and emulate the Amiga and all that on it. I mean, you can emulate the Amiga, but you don't get that good of an emulation. It works for, the oldest games, but if you want to emulate an Amiga, get the Pi 3. You won't regret that.
Okay. Yes, the 3, the 2, and I forgot it what I want to ask. I had to Google that question again. Oh my god. Okay, so but I forgot.
That's an important question, I guess.
I think that I was thinking about something important, but okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
You got distracted by listening to the Danish Queen.
Running my data.
Okay, so but I think this is quite interesting, more or less, and
Or less?
yeah, more or less. Of course, it's interesting. I think I will buy hardware for this and try it.
Another way to say it. I think there's a way far better way to say it. This long talk should have been 40 seconds, just saying buy a Raspberry Pi 3, download Amibian, get your ROMs and Kickstart from Toronto via Google Play for €1, and enjoy the Amiga and have fun with it. People discuss too much. I mean, taste is different. You can never discuss taste. It will be a never-ending circle.
And maybe now for because now we have in Amiga word different. We already talked about it a little bit about the Amiga OS 4. It's too expensive. Okay, so but now the last hot news in Amiga is Vampire. So FPGA technology. So what do you think about this? Or because some guys don't like emulation, and so maybe they should they try the Raspberry Pi, or maybe should they invest in real hardware?
I find it really funny that the same people that don't like emulation go out and buy the Vampire, which is, well, that's not Amiga.
I would say FPGA is emulation, because then we have the same discussion as always.
Yeah, it's a never-ending circle. Well, the thing is, if you have an Amiga for yourself, enjoy it. Be happy. It's awesome. If you don't have the Amiga, get the Raspberry Pi. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Basically.
And it fits inside an Amiga 500. And with a little switch, you can just, I've just received some Chinese switches today.
Yeah, almost. So you can switch between. If you want to do some modding, it's easy.
It fits on the floppy drive. I mean, fun.
Okay, but on my PC I can have the emulation, so why I should buy the Raspberry Pi? Of course, to support you guys, yeah?
Do you like a window in a window?
No.
Oh, well.
Okay. Understand.
That was an easy answer.
Of course. I answered it.
Yeah. No, the Raspberry Pi, it basically feels like you have an Amiga. At least it does to me. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would disagree with that because it's emulation and it's the biggest sin, or so it seems. But what I've noticed after the Amibian did get so popular that people have kind of reduced the bashing of emulation a little bit. It seems like it's not really accepted, but it's not as hated as before.
Okay, so that's because it's not exactly connected, but have you used Amitlon? It's different approach, but more or less not the same concept, but maybe have you used it, Amitlon?
I am looking at the original CD as we speak. I paid 1,500 Danish crowns, which is around 200 euros, in the year 2000, 2001 when it was released. It came in a nice box, and that's it. And after 3 and 4 months waiting for updates and stuff and no graphics card drivers and whatever, and then another Amiga-related bankruptcy, I went, Go screw it. And I installed Windows 2000. And I've still got the CD.
I haven't tried it myself, so I have no idea.
Okay, just asking because Amitlon was so, maybe not so, but was quite very popular.
It's basically the same thing, just on the x86 architecture, sort of. It was just like Boing. What's the name? Boing Box. The distro it ran. Boing Box. Was it like that?
Boing Box.
I have no idea.
I can't remember. The loader. It loaded a tiny core Linux or whatever it was, and then it started.
This was in the time that I was away from computers, so I have no idea what happened from 97 till 2004. Everything that happened in that era just slipped by me, so I have no idea.
But now I have the very good question, I think. Of course, like everyone here, but AmiKit, it's I think the most advanced AmigaOS free, available for real Amiga or for emulation. And did you think about this to use to do it, or to talk with Jan, the author of the AmiKit, that you can integrate it? This means I buy Raspberry Pi, I download the image of Amibian, and I don't know, download the AmiKit, and then I have the AmiKit on Raspberry Pi, so I don't need to configure the operating system. I have almost everything there already, and
I think that AmiKit works on it as it is now. If you have AmiKit, I think it works.
Okay.
But I did contact the guys that do AmiKit, asked them if they wanted some sort of collaboration, and they were interested. But then they said also that they are working on their own Pi project, and then I didn't hear back from them. So I have no idea what that is or what they're doing. So, but I do think it, like I say, that Amibian works pretty much like an Amiga. So if it works on an Amiga, should work on an Amibian. So if AmiKit works on Amiga, it works on Amibian. So yeah, you could install it on Amibian.
Okay, the conclusion is that tomorrow I should buy the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, you won't regret that. It's cheap and it's awesome.
Good.
It's point in the story. It's cheap. It's awesome. I mean, AmiKit is funny. It's nice. It's a lot of bling factor. I've got it for the phone, for the tablet. I've tried it in various systems. Well, it all works, and with the rabbit hole and wine, and it's a lot of stuff. It's funny. But if you just want to use your Amiga and use your old soft and hardware, well, I'm referring to the controllers, obviously. Use your old software and your old hard disk file or whatever, and your games. It's the way to go. It's simple.
It's the cheapest and easiest way to go.
How many times have we said it's cheap and easy? It's the basic thing about it.
I think the message is getting across, at least.
Yeah, that's it. Making it accessible for everybody and having fun with it. I'm basically, lately, the last month and a half, 2 months, I've basically not participated in any of the discussions because it's just always the same and recapping. I mean, all those recapping Nazis out there. I'm fed up with capacitors and yellowing. Oh yeah, just bought another bottle of it a month and a half ago, and I haven't opened it because in the meantime I noticed all the ones I did last year, the summer last year, they actually look worse now. So I'm not gonna do that anymore. They will be nice and yellow and look the age they are. I'm not gonna color my hair either way, even though it's turning gray. I mean,
gray is sexy.
Yeah, I look just as sexy as Eros Ramazzotti. Just younger.
Okay, so I think this is everything, and always the last part of the interviews is some good words from my guests to our community. So now we know everybody that tomorrow we buy Raspberry Pi, of course, yeah. But besides of that, some, I don't know, ratings or wishes.
Wishes? Yeah. I want screenshots. I want people to say something and ask stuff that's different except just how to flash the thing. I mean, just get out of the hole. Just have fun with it. I've said that a couple of times. I think people forget. Sad. And then try doing something with it, except only installing it. Do something with it. Use Deluxe Paint. You make a little picture for us.
I have good idea for you. Maybe you should make some competition. For example, like in old good days, the best Workbench screenshot from the Amibian, and on the Facebook, and then maybe you will get some feedback, and the people will try to make the most beautiful Workbench ever.
Yeah, we get maybe like one picture then, and it'll be mine.
You must believe.
No, there are a couple of people that are very active. I can say, but it's always the same people. I mean, there's so many people downloading it. Like, get back to us with something.
It's pretty simple. It's very simple. If you want to know who's active, then just check out. If you read the README, there's a list of the Amibian team. That's basically everybody that's answered. You know, everybody that's been active. Pretty much. Everybody's been giving me ideas. So.
Okay, and another question should be the last, but do you maybe plan or think something like about special edition of Raspberry Pi, or maybe only of housing in Amiga way, you know, this design with yellowing if you want as well?
And
then sell it to make some money, then you can invest in, I don't know, whatever.
I have actually thought about it, but no, I don't think that's the way to go. I'm doing this because it's fun. If it turns into a business, it's not fun. So it's fun. I look at it like I'm helping people having fun. I do have a link on my webpage for donations, so I can, you know, pay for the .net. And hopefully soon be able to buy it. Screw you, Thomas. But hopefully soon, I have a social forum on the webpage, but you have to pay for it. So I have a free version, so it only shows 5 threads at a time. So if people put in new threads all the time, then it drops the last one out. So yeah. So if it stops being fun, then I don't see a point in continuing. So
okay.
I'm not gonna go that way. And also there is this thing called Amiga.
Yeah, I know.
Which has special housing and all that. So I don't think I want to go in some kind of competition. So that's not fun.
So I have another question. Sorry, but if this is possible, or maybe it's already possible, on Raspberry Pi with Amibian, can you add, or it is already possible, something easy that I can record my screen when I want to make, for example, YouTube version of using of Amiga, of software, or even installation of something?
Yeah, there is software that you can add. I was actually thinking about adding it, but I don't know if I forgot to complete it or if I found some faults with it. I don't know. I can't really remember.
Please do it. Please do it. You will make me happy.
There is software available. I remember now. There is a little. It's not really that good. You need to set a timer when it starts recording and when it stops recording. It's kind of a hassle to do. So I think that's why I kind of gave up on it. Okay. But there is stuff that you can add to, you know, there's some sort of adapters you can hook up from the Raspberry Pi you plug in the HDMI to this adapter thing, and then from that to the TV that records to your PC instead. So if you want to do some recording, I guess that would actually be the best option. So then you have full control of what you're recording.
So this is made by HDMI. Okay, I will search for it.
Yeah, I've seen this on eBay and on AliExpress. It's all over the place. It's not expensive equipment.
Okay, because I'm asking that's why, because when I see some videos on YouTube, a lot of them are unprofessionally made, because they are made from the mobile or something and shaky, and when you are recording direct from the desktop, it's much better. Yeah, it looks like shoot.
But like I said, you can get this adapter.
I have done some really bad videos with my phone. I will actually try doing some more. They're so bad. I can't even bear watch them myself, and I delete them before uploading them.
Well, I actually enjoy seeing those videos. It's fun.
They're so bad.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, well,
people are trying, and it's awesome. I like seeing those videos.
Like me in the box.
No, not those.
I was sitting naked in a box, singing "Living in a Box" next to my Amiga.
That was fun.
Never officially uploaded it, but I might do now after this.
Yeah, you should. That's a video that everybody needs to see.
I hurt myself a lot in that box. Did you know that?
So upload this and send a link to me, and then I will put it in description of podcast, and then you will be famous.
Thomas in a box.
So I've got it. I will put it on. I will put it on YouTube. I promise, and I will send you the link, Christoph, so everybody can enjoy me sitting naked, almost in a box. With my Amiga.
Yeah, awesome.
Painful.
Okay, I will.
Okay, guys, I think I'm satisfied, and probably I will buy a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, about time you do.
Yeah, I must buy. Why not? Because I'm using the classic Amiga, and at the end of all, it's always something is not working with them, like you said. So why not to use something modern? Okay, something at the end, the last words.
I am just about to upload this video to YouTube. Better not make me regret it. I can't even remember what I'm doing in it. And I'm not drunk, but I might get drunk after I do this.
It's Friday night.
Oh my god, this is so bad. Do you have any last words, Gunnar, before I take the whip out and I make it work?
Well, I don't know. Just a greetings to everybody that's been helping out. I can't really start name dropping everybody. There's a lot of people that have helped me out. So I'm very thankful for all help and all suggestions I've gotten. So just very great. Thank you a lot for all your help and all your contribution. So yeah, that's about what I have to say.
Okay, good. So I will say at the end of, thank you. This was very funny interview.
Interesting.
And interesting as well. I think the connecting so interesting guys and the project with the so cheap hardware could be interesting. So maybe more guys will buy the Raspberry Pi, and then we can emulate Amiga on something cheap. That should, at the end of all, this was the soul of Amiga old, to be not so expensive like it's now. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a nice Friday night. It was AmiCast, podcast for all Amiga users.